Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Down, face down. You know the routine.
Hello, my name is Satie Gossett, and I'm your host for the show Pan and Zoom, where we talk to creatives about their creative process. We have a very special guest today, Kathleen Bradley, the first African-American Price is Right girl for 10 years, and from the cult classic Friday. And we're going to get into it and find out where she got her start. Hi, Kathleen.
Hello, Satie.
Why you say it like that?
Because I knew you before you knew yourself.
You're right, actually.
And a piece of trivia before we start, and I know people don't know this, but my mother used to babysit for Satie, Mrs. Bradley.
Oh, man.
She babysitted for Satie many, many years ago.
Where, in Hancock Park?
In Hancock Park and all over. She was very good friends with Honey and the family and everything.
We're going back.
Yeah, we go way back. But
wow.
yes, she sure did take care of you a little bit, Miss Bradley. She was the nice nanny. No.
No, well, I mean, she got me.
Yeah, okay. See there, yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's a great piece of trivia.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, we want to talk about you and your origin and just where you got your start.
Right. Well, I'm originally from Girard, Ohio, which is next to Youngstown, Ohio, which is not too far from Cleveland, Ohio. And I, always had inspired to be in show business. Growing up in a nice Midwestern town and city with just not a lot of people, especially not a lot of Black folks back there, though I did live in a predominantly Black area of the whole city. But I had a really good wide a range of opportunities for just not so much diversity, because there was little or none, because you have to think I was raised up in the 60s. So we stayed down on the path near where the railroad tracks were, and other people were up on the other side of the tracks. But we did intermingle, obviously, in going to school. As a matter of fact, it's so interesting that not until the latter part of my growing up and coming back to visit, not really too many years ago, maybe 10 or so many years ago, I discovered we had a golf course. We had some other places on the other side of, not too far from where I lived, because we were never invited to go there to do those things. But as it is now, I'm a big mucky muck kind of celebrity there in the hometown, and people just look at me and admire me for all the wonderful things I have been able to do in life.
And you're a pretty good golfer, too.
I love to golf. I'm pretty good. It's always just a work in progress, I tell you. So there are days I wanted to throw that club in the water. There are days I wanted to walk away. A few days I have cried. But we keep coming back for more for some reason.
So back to your origin. You love the movies.
Yep.
Was there anything in particular that kind of struck you that said, wait, this is what I want to do?
Oh, just going with my mother to the cinema, theater, and looking at the big screen when I was just so young, and just to see the live people on the screen and the acting, and just, I mean, it was transcending. It was just something that was awe-inspiring, because, from being back in the 60s and that time frame, it's just like you don't see that kind of thing. And television barely came into play when I was a young girl. So, and to see it on the big screen was just wow. And to look at it, it was like, wow, why can I do that? Can I do that? Can I be on there? But of course, we never had any Black Negroes, African-American representation until later down the line. But I didn't think of it in those terms, because, I didn't see color. I just saw some magnificent things happening in front of me that everybody got a chance to see these people, and I always liked to do a little showcase at home. My brother and I, we would set up on a toy box. We had a wooden toy box. We would put the curtains in back like where the beds were. We had bunk beds and everything, and we put on shows for my mother and father. My brother, he used to sing, "Chances are you da dee da 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 da." He would sing that song. We would just dance and sing, and that was like, I had to be at least 9 or 10 years old. So it was just in my gut, in my bones, and felt it. That's something I know I had to do.
Did you take theater classes or?
Well, I did do a little theater in high school. And aside from theater, though, I did modeling. I had modeling classes. My mother sent me to dance. She sent me to quite a few different types of classes that were available. Not a lot of them, mind you, back in those days.
After high school, modeling opportunities, what kind of gave you consider your big break?
There were actually some opportunities while I was still in school for the local stores, J.C. Penney's, Strauss's, and a couple of others. But actually, my, obviously, time was when I left Ohio. After I graduated, I worked for about a year, 8 months, saved up. I think I had at least $500 I saved up, which was a lot of money back there.
Yeah.
And I moved to Los Angeles. And really, the only reason I really felt comfortable to move to Los Angeles was that my very best girlfriend, Terry Jackson, and Scott now, her family just moved from Youngstown to Los Angeles. Her grandfather was there. So they relocated there, moved there. And I always said, well, thank God she was a year older than me. As soon as I got out of school, I knew I had a place to stay and had some people there that would help look out after me. Because had they not been there, I know I probably would not have had the guts, the balls, the whatever to move there on my own, as so many actresses and models and people just strike out going to New York or going out to do stuff. I couldn't have did that by myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's the age-old story. Couple $100 of gas in your car, you drive there, sleep on end couches, but you had a landing spot.
I sure
And I think
did.
that made a big difference.
Oh, it made all the difference in the world, and I'm still grateful. My girlfriend and I were like sisters. She didn't have a sister, nor did I, but we've always remained close friends, as our parents and friends and everybody had it throughout the years.
Well, in the intro, I talked about 2 of your benchmark things, but I also want to talk about your singing career. And the Love Machine. Can you talk about how that came about?
Well, that segues right into the points in time when I moved to Los Angeles. I always wanted to get involved with some pageantry. I knew that hopefully that would send me into another direction. I would be able to be seen by various people and catapult to just another whole career, or go kind of gear me towards where I wanted to be. And I entered Miss Hot Pants contest. I was in Miss Fine Brown Frame. And several other little wild, crazy names. Some of them were in nightclubs and some of them were kind of legit, and Miss Elks or whatever. But the big one that really changed my whole trajectory of life was being at Maverick's Flat. And the owner there, John Daniels, Cassius Weathersby, actually, if you know Cassius, he's the one who encouraged me to go into the pageant. And I entered into the Miss Black California pageant, which was part of the Miss Black America overall pageant. And as it turned out, I won Miss Black California 1971. And which led me to be able to go and vie for the Miss Black America pageant, which was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the time. And we had a full set of 49, 50 women from all over. The pageant's still going on. I don't want to deflect from the story, but it's just not like it used to be. And I hope it will one point in time. But that led me, I didn't win the pageant, Miss Black America. However, I was able to go with 5 of the other contestants, along with Miss Black America, who was Joyce Warner, she's from Orlando, Florida. We were able to go on the Miss Black USO tour.
Oh, wow.
To Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And Thailand. So we rehearsed. We had a band to go with us. I sang and performed, and the other girls did as well. And that was just, to me, one of the most rewarding times of my entire life that I had ventured into. And my brother, he was in Vietnam at the time. And they asked us before we went, they said, do you have any relatives, friends, or family over there in Vietnam you might want to see or hook up with that while we're there? Like, how often do you get to Vietnam, right? So I said, yes, my brother. He was in Cam Ranh Bay. As a matter of fact, that's where we first stopped we went to, was Cam Ranh Bay. So
He must have been a hero.
Well,
when he's like, Mr. Black California, my sister, she's coming to visit me.
You know that. Oh my God. And we got off the plane, the guys came and everybody was on the tarmac, and we stepped down and they gave us flowers, and I'm looking around, looking for my brother, Scotty. Where's Scotty? Where's my brother? I asked one of the sergeants, and somebody said, I said, oh, he's not here. What? No, he said last night he went out with the guys. He was so excited. He tied one on. He couldn't get his butt up out the bed.
It's a typical brother.
I was like, oh, I'm going to choke him. I was upset a bit, but then I was relieved to know he was okay because I didn't know what had happened to him. But he showed up a little later, and all the guys there, I'm telling you, the soldiers, the brothers, they were so happy to see us. You know, they had the USO tour with Bob Hope and Frank Sinatra and the Ding-a-lings and all these other people coming in there. But, you know, a few black folks here and there, maybe Sammy Davis. But just to see these beautiful, fine black.
Were these women part of your group?
No, these were not. They were part of there was Miss Mississippi went, Miss Indiana. They chose just 5 of us out of 50 women that were contestants that did not win. Some were runners-up. I was among just 5 that they chose, that they wanted us to go over there. We put a little act together and entertained for the guys. We did singing and we did some dancing. And
how did you parlay that into the group?
Well, what happened after I got from there and did that, John Daniels, he formed the singing group called The Love Machine when I got back home.
Because you're not a singer, you're a singer. I saw you and it's like, dude, she's not singing, she's singing.
Yeah, I can sing. And 7 girls singing, dancing. We had a couple of the girls that were in the Miss Black California pageant have gotten chosen to be in the Love Machine. We had an 8-piece band. Mind you, this was like 70s, 72.
I saw the videos and some of the
we traveled.
performances.
Oh my God, we traveled all over Italy, Germany, Spain, Belgium, Sweden, Switzerland, Africa, Asia. Saint-Tropez was the very first place we worked at, south of France. And I mean, it was just a wonderful opportunity. It was a lot of fun. You know, of course, traveling with 7 women, it was challenging, but we were all friends. We remain friends to this day. 2 of the girls unfortunately passed away. We still see some of the band members who are around. And, you know, I left after like 8 years. We were with Motown Records till we recorded with them, and did Las Vegas, worked with Sammy Davis Jr., Tom Jones, Julio Iglesias, Al Green. Oh my God, so many people. Wow. That was just such a rewarding part of my life for me to have been able to do that.
So that experience kind of set you up for Price is Right. Would that be correct?
Well, somewhat it did, because though when I got out of the group, I had an ultimatum from my first husband, Bill Overton.
Hi, Bill. Hi.
Right. So we were going together for a while, and you have to imagine, though, especially for a woman being in a group and traveling around, and the man is at home. Usually, it's the other way around. So, and I felt, you know, at some point the group should have been much larger or bigger than we were. So he gave me the ultimatum. I wanted to get married, have a child. We got married. I had a baby, and I did some more modeling for Ebony and some Jet magazine.
You're a Jet Beauty of the Week.
I'm a Jet Beauty of the Week. Yep, Lamont McLemore. I met him. That's how I met Jane Kennedy. She and I became very good friends through Lamont McLemore, taking some photos and different things. And I got into a few little daytime TV shows and nighttime, Good Times, and Amen and Sanford Son, and a few little things here and there. And unfortunately, the marriage didn't last that long, but we still remain friends.
You still managed to have like 2 kind of iconic pieces. Like first, The Price is Right, where you were auditioned and got it over 300 women. Is that right?
Like that. But you know, let me go back a little bit. And I must say, I did do a couple theaters, musicals, and the one I did do was called Charlene. and I had the lead for that. And I think I sang about 15 songs in there. Yes, it was and we were at the Wilshire E. Bell.
Okay.
That was something that was very challenging to me at that time. I did learn a lot from that. I learned a lot from the director and producers and people. And that's when I think I really got more into the concept and acting that really led me into, shedding my shell, so to speak, and to really be able to have some creative performance license to do a few things that I had never had the opportunity to do.
Do you think that experience helped you with Price is Right?
What helped me with The Price is Right was, in fact, when I was traveling with the Love Machine, because Diane, Holly, Janice, they were all in a certain age range. I think they're 40, 45, something like that when I got there. And you have to imagine it was 17 years since they decided to put a Black woman on the show. The show originated in 1972. And actually CBS needed to diversify with all of their daytime programming, and Price is Right was one of them. But the fact that I wasn't timid around the girls, I wasn't shy. I'd done a lot of stage, being on this live audience. That did help me, being in front of a live audience and doing theater and different things of that nature. And also being able to relate to Diane, Holly, and Janice on a kind of an equal peer kind of level.
What about the rapport with Bob?
Bob?
That's very kind of improv-y and ad-lib-y, correct?
Well, at the time when I was auditioning, so to speak, obviously, he wasn't around a lot. I just saw him during the shows because we would rehearse, do blocking, and get dressed. And we actually, at that point, we were taping 3 shows a day. We worked 3 days and we were off 2 days. And we worked 3 weeks and we were off a week, which was wonderful. And I would basically just see Bob when I was auditioning during the show. So I didn't have a lot of interaction with him or what have you, but still he was very kind. He was very gracious to me, and just things transpired after a while. They called me back to do several live shows. I think I did like almost 20 shows over a span of 4 or 5 months, that they were seeing many other different contestants, not contestants, but models for that part. They wanted to see how they interacted and looked up against the other models and how everybody worked together. And, of course, the girls, they didn't want to see any little young hoochie mama come up there that could have been their child, And some of that models were like 20 years younger than us at that point. I was like 40, 41, I think, when I got on that show. So it worked out.
And then when you left the show, it's interesting that your opportunity for Friday was because of the show.
Yeah, that too. I was on the show. And so when I got the call to audition, my agent, Judith Fontaine, called me and said, Kathleen, they want to, can you go for an audition for this movie? It's Ice Cube, and it's a funny show or something, but he wanted you. He asked for you. He said he wanted that Black lady on The Price is Right. I have been the Black lady on The Price is Right for so long. Nobody really knew my name, though Bob would say from time to time, here's the lovely Kathleen, the lovely Janice, the lovely so-and-so. He would say our names, but people didn't relate to that. But he said, I want that Black lady. I want to see her. Get her in here for the audition. The Black lady on The Price is Right. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. So,
Did he ever say why? Or just...
Well, because... And if you've seen the movie Friday, people, you know that Miss Parker exudes sexuality. She has these nice figure and boobs and everything. And during being on the show, I wore swimsuits. We wore bikinis. So he knew the body well, and the face didn't look too bad. And so pretty much he had that idea in his mind that he wanted me to do it because he knew I could fit that part. And a lot of people didn't know I was the Price is Right model as well as Miss Parker, that they're just kind of finding that out. I'm one and the same.
Does it ever feel like you're kind of boxed in, that you want to do other things, or are you happy with it?
it kind of is what they call typecasting once again, which it has kind of plagued me to a degree. Not too many other opportunities really came my way after I did Friday. But of course, Friday had a slow takeoff. It really did. It didn't do that well at the box office. It later gained a real cult. It really later gained a momentum as people were watching it, as it had gone to video and the DVR. And when it was going there, people start watching it and looking at it and laughing at it. And it just had the following of life up until this day. It is like, the first Friday is the Friday. The second and third, they were like, okay. Second was terrible. Third one was better. And
it's one of those timeless pieces.
It is
that you could drop in at any moment of the film and just kind of like you're back there.
Right,
with,
it is.
With those feelings.
And it's so funny. And I still watch it. I laugh very out loud, It's not a kind of a forced laugh that you have to go like, it's like, laugh out loud. And there are parts in that movie that I don't remember. I mean, not that I was doing it, but there are parts in the movie that since I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times, I guess, but just some things, lines that I didn't remember that were said. But it's just going to be always funny. It's going to always be great. And the residuals are even better.
That's the best part.
That's the best part.
You got some stuff going on. You want to talk about that? You got a show, you got a book?
Well, I do have a book. Actually, I was on The Price is Right from 1990 to 2000. Unfortunately, it was an untimely and not such a very nice, they don't call it termination, but it was. I got let go. Janice was let go, who had been there 29 years. I was there 10 years. There were like 4 or 5 other of the women assistants and right-hand person to Bob that got let go for various reasons. And, I couldn't say much about it when it happened, but as a result, as time went on, I was able to write a book. And I did have a gag order for 4 years. I could have sued for wrongful termination, but they did give me a settlement. But I did write my book. It's called Backstage at the Price is Right.
Okay. Is it out now?
Memoirs of a Barker Beauty. It's been out actually since 2014.
Okay, so you can get it on Amazon.
Amazon.
Okay.
Backstage at the Price is Right. Memoirs of a Barker Beauty. As a matter of fact, and this last week, well, I don't know when this show will be aired, but in March, the 18th or something of this 2026, they aired our documentary. A documentary was made on, it's called Dirty Rotten Scandals.
Oh, wow.
Dirty Rotten Scandals is E! Entertainment's documentary name. They had, and we shot the documentary, myself, Claudia Jordan, Holly Hallstrom, one of the other models, a couple of the assistants, and everybody that was wrongfully terminated, to tell the absolute truth, as we know it, what happened behind the scenes, and some sexual harassment from different people, how Bob kind of treated folks as a result of, a long time, just when you think you know somebody, you really don't. A lot of the truth came out, and some of that truth was actually based on my book.
Wow.
The production company read my book and they really liked it. And that was really what got the wheels spinning. But it was a 2-part series called Dirty Rotten Scandals, and it was The Price is Right. And prior to that, in 2 weeks prior, they had one on Dr. Phil. They talked about Dr. Phil and Dirty Scandals. And then the following week was Tyra Bank.
Okay, so it's a series of scandals.
Yes, series. Yes, it is a series, and that's what it is. The scandals, the truth. People love scandals. People love inquiring minds, want to know all of that tabloid stuff that happened. But
I love to love it. Mm-hmm. And I also love how your voice goes up when you talk about wrongful termination.
You hear my voice?
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
No, really. But it was, yeah.
So as we get closer to the end, what words of wisdom can you impart to the public about, not just your journey, but just the journey of an artist? Because there's so many things we could have covered, but I just wanted to talk about your creative journey. But, what could you say? Like, it was like you could talk to a young Kathleen sitting here. Like, what would you say to her?
I would say really just get some education, as much education as you can under your belt before you venture out, or you can do both. There are people who are in acting, modeling, that have done work and they still got a degree. And degrees are really important because, our face and our body is our passport. We may not always have that. And this business is so competitive. It really is. And the thing is, especially, learn your craft, get into the right places and be seen. You have to network and just get out there and get the best representation you can get, and just learn and get a good tape on yourself. You just gotta do more. I didn't really do as much as I could. Sometimes I get a little complacent. I love the business. I liked it. I didn't. There's so many rejections. It's like, okay, I'll marry rich instead of handsome. What the heck, But no, my husband is handsome. I have now Terrence Red, my baby boy, and my kids. I love my family. And I'm just saying I'm in a good place right now, but I have had a lot of young women come up to me and ask me for some advice.
Yeah, I mean, because you're a mentor and a role model, because they see you on the other side of it. And I'm wondering if there's a question that you wanted to be asked that hasn't been asked of you.
Well, like you said, where do I go from here? I don't think I answered that. I recently did a few movies. Not too long ago, I still have a few movies out. One is A House Divided, was a series that was on. I was a series regular for a while, House Divided. And I also did a Day of Trouble movie a couple years ago, recently. And I think you were in production, of course, with Something About Mother. It's a short directed by Melina Gage, and Kennedy was in it, Don Lewis, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. That was really, to me, very inspirational, really wonderful movie. I hope that they are able to get it out so people can see it, because it tells a great story about, truth
And faith.
And faith,
Yeah.
for sure, and a lot of really good qualities to that movie. And recently I was in, and still am in, Daughters of Dolomite.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Daughters of Dolomite, directed by Forrest, our boy, can't think of my mind.
Forrest Cordero.
Yeah. And Michael Collier's in it, Hawthorne James, and Tori Hart, who's Kevin Hart's former wife. She's in it. She produced some of it. It's a very funny movie, and people might not know who Dolomite is. Rudy Ray Moore. He just actually would have been celebrating his 100th birthday. We had a screening of the movie. It was done on a real thin shoestring budget, but it got done. And there's some work that needs to have on it. And hopefully, if it goes to theater, wonderful. If it doesn't, I'm sure at some point it will be streaming on some kind of local streaming channel. The Daughters of Dolomite. Look it up.
We will.
I think you'll see a trailer somewhere.
I think you have one more great part, a couple more great parts in you.
Oh, I know.
They're there.
I do.
Something meaty, something substantive.
Exactly. I do want to do that.
And
I watched some things.
It's called Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding.
Saturday might be Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Super Friday.
But
so.
yeah, I love comedy though. I just love comedy and doing certain things. I have a character who's my alter ego, and her name is Kathleen. Kathleen, honey. I don't know if you saw.
The golf pro.
No, she's not the golf pro.
No, she's the golf pro, and she's conning all the men out of their money
See, now that would be something.
until she meets her match.
Yeah.
There it is.
But
It's like the black caddy shack.
Yeah, right. There you
should do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Hey.
right here. I'm gonna talk to Ro.
Let's do it.
So, on that note, that is a great segue to us ending the show. I would like to thank Miss Kathleen Bradley.
Thank you for having me, Satie. We've known each other quite a while.
You have, and you stumped me in the beginning with that.
Yeah.
You had that loaded up.
I thought I told you that before about
No, you didn't.
Mrs. Bradley. And
You caught me slipping. Very hard to catch me slipping on Pan and Doom, but it does happen. And if anyone can catch me, it's Miss Parker. This has been a wonderful show. I'm your host, Satie Gossett. Until next time, keep on filming.
Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Down, face down. You know the routine.